folks, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
I'm Camilla.
And today we're taking a look at Wanderlust, Discover the World. To go, the people who like to travel and just go all over the place. That's what this game is. You're going to go see things. You're going to go take pictures of wonders of the world, buy souvenirs. This game is promoting commercialism.
And traveling and exploring the world around you.
Yeah, I know. I just thought it was funny that
all good stuff.
it was a weird thematic disconnect of like, I'm taking pictures and buying souvenirs.
Yes.
I don't know. I think the two go so hand in hand, though.
They do a little bit. I just thought it was a funny. I think the two people are different. Like the person who's like, I'm going to go find and take a picture is not the same person. I'm going to spend 3 days in London buying souvenirs. I'm the souvenir guy. I'm not going to go climb into the. Oh, maybe I would. Anyway, the mechanisms of the game. Z's going to show us how it works. We'll be right back.
All right. In this game, each player is trying to get the most victory points possible. You're going to be getting victory points from a few different things. You'll be collecting these. You're collecting pictures of places, sending postcards, and so on. Getting points for that. You'll be getting points for this track, which you'll be moving up as you travel. And you're getting points for these goals. You're getting points for collecting locations and collecting various sets. At the end, of course, whoever has the most will be the winner here. So how does the game work? Everybody has a player board here with a character. You can play on this side here that has a unique ability for each one of these characters, listed right here with a special skill. Or you can play on the other side, and there is no such thing. So if you're playing for the first time, you might want to do that. Everybody has a location that they begin at with their little character. I've laid these down so you can see them. I have 3 of them out on the board. And then you have 3 tickets you begin with, all right? There's also a couple of secret goals. You'll score for those if you achieve them. We've got up here an area for the locations currently on the map that players could travel to. And they are marked with these tokens, which again I've laid down so you can see them. There's also a market there for tickets that the players can take from. And everybody on their turn is going to get 2 actions. So your actions listed right here, you have 2 actions with the lightning, and here are the things you can do. So you could take a ticket. That means one of those face up ones or one of the face down ones, and then we replenish immediately. These are the different kinds of tracks that you see on the board. There are also, besides the 4 basic ones, there are some white ones like this one, which are wild themselves, and any kind of transportation could be used, like a train or a boat. Those cards there, they are wild themselves, and they could be used to traverse any kind of route on the map, and you are trying to use these cards to travel, all right? So taking those cards, each one is 1 action. You could also, for an action, travel somewhere. That is going to require that you discard these cards for the entirety of that trip. So in this game, you're not slowly making it somewhere. You need to get there in 1 shot. So you build up a hand of cards of those tickets, and then eventually when you take that travel action, you go boom, 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 and you get there. So this player, for example, could discard, let's say, a boat, a train, and a car, a vehicle there to get there. So let's say they do that. All right, let me grab the cards for that and have that happen. So let's say a boat. Let's say they do, what is it? Boat, a train, which I'll steal from here for the example, and then a car. And let's say for the car part, they use a wild card here, and they get there. 1, 2, 3, 2 there. You are going to, having done that, you're going to get that location card. So the one that matches up here, they'll be retrieving that and keeping it, okay? This is where they currently are. So they'll put that card face up in their area. We are going to momentarily replace that and move this marker to the new location. So say we get Cape Town. This goes down here to Cape Town, all right? You're also going to get 1 victory point on this track for every leg of the trip. So in this case, it would be 3, but the wild cards do not give you a point. So it's actually only 2 points for the blue player. You can then discard these cards over here in the discard pile, and you are good. There's also airports in the world. You'll see them. It looks like that. And you can go from one of those to a different one using a plane card. They show you right here at the bottom, and the airports show you as well, that when you take one of those travels, you're going to get one of these cards, one of these people that you meet at the airport, and these have one-time special abilities in the game. You keep them, you can discard it for the special ability. There's a whole stack of these, and they do various things, all right? So that could be your second action, travel. Spend all the cards you need, score victory points for them. If you used a plane from airport to airport, get one of these friends that you meet along the way, and then replenish this to a new location, like I said, all right? Which ended up being not Cape Town. It ended up being, where is it? Right here, very close to Cape Town. All right. And now, other options you can take here, if you're in a location that has some sites, you can take one of these tokens for a single action. They'll be worth a victory points at the end of the game. You can do that once. You can do that 3 times per location. So, for example, this new card that just came up shows you it is of that type, has this symbol right here at the bottom. You could put these on there up to 3 times, each one being an action, by the way. You get 2 per turn, right? Once you've got 3, you can't do any more. Once you leave a place, you can't put anything else on it. You can never come back to it. So these will be worth 1 victory point apiece. There's also some locations that will have these postcards. They're going to cost you 1 action and a ticket that you need to discard from your hand. They're worth 2 victory points. You can do these once per card, once per location. And then there's also these pictures. And this is going to cost you your whole turn, 2 actions. And they're worth 3 victory points apiece. So those are basically all the actions you can take on your turn. You have 2 of those action points. Now, these here are objectives, and as the players complete these, they will put the flags on them. As soon as anybody completes 2 different ones, then the end game is triggered. Everybody gets 1 more turn, including the player that triggered this, and then we are going to score everything. You're going to get points, like I said, for all the locations you've collected, for traveling to different continents or sort of different colored areas in the world, for collecting sets of the same kinds of goodies up there, and then for these things, 1, 2, 3, having a set also gives you points, 1 of each. You get points for that as a grouping, trying to get the most victory points. These are different from game to game. You're seeing 3 random ones here, but there are more. And they will do things such as, requiring you to visit 3 locations in the world, 3 colored areas, getting to a certain number of victory points out here on this track, and so on. So the end game will be different based on what's out here. But that's it. Get the most points at the end of the game, and you are the winner.
When I first was going through the game, there's a lot of games like this. It reminds me a bit of Expeditions from Wolfgang Kramer and Ticket to Ride. Sort of. Just moving around.
Trekking the World immediately came to mind, yep.
So there's one thing in this game, and I'm curious because it's going to change people's opinions. It's the hard limit of 3 things you can go to. And in a multiplayer game, I'm like, I'm saving up to go to that spot, and then you take it. And your reaction to that, I think, will determine, honestly, if you like the game or not. Because if that really bothers you, and it will bother some people, I think I can tell you not to play this game.
I think that, coupled with the high level of luck of how or where those places come out that are available.
Yes.
I mean, there could be, your starting point could have all 3 right around you, and the other players be on the other side of the board. Or you be the one that's left out, and everyone is right there fighting over the same ones.
Sure.
I think that is balanced, though, by, yes, they get them quickly, but in those turns, you're building up a bigger hand to be able to go further, which is worth more points for when one does come up, or stick around in a spot and take the picture. So it does have a balancing mechanism in it with that they're going 1 or 2 spaces away and getting those cards, and that's great. But also, when I do play, I'm going to play a 7 or 8 card trail, of cards, and that's worth triple the points that they got.
I don't normally push variant rules, but I would always play with the variant rule in the back.
There's a variant rule in this, which I did not explain in the overview, in which you may choose to lessen that look of something popping up right next to you. Every trip has to be at least 3 legs. So if I'm literally next to something, it still takes me like a 1, 2, 3 to lessen that feeling of, hey, it's right next to me, and I have the 1 card, bam.
That's interesting.
So I agree with you, Tom. I think I would push that rule, too, especially if that feeling is a problem.
Because there's still luck in where the stuff shows up, and there's luck in those event cards you get when you use an airplane. Some are clearly
people you meet, right?
Some are clearly better than others. You get one that gives you a free photograph. That's better than getting one that gives you a souvenir.
I really like the rule in the Fox experiment where you get those cards and they're one-time benefits, but if you don't use them, they're a point at the end. And I do wish that this had something like that because there is a little bit of imbalance in those cards. It's like, oh, that's never going to work for me. At least I get a point out of it. So I wish that there was a little bit more of a give on those, because you are making friends and relationships. That should be worth something. Interesting on that variant though. I don't know. I think it's one that I am glad is there. I didn't know about, but I don't think I would want to play.
Yeah.
So
it's one more like mental leap to make, right?
Right.
The rule is you got to travel here, you spend your way to get there. Oh, no, you can't do that. You need to go at least 3, so you have to travel in a stupid way. It's like...
Right. I think that
it
thematic...
takes away from the theme, yes.
And I think it's
going
to slow the game down where it can already get a little... I hate to say clunky, but a little bit messy when you are mapping out, especially if you have that power that makes something wild, or your own special power. It's like you can use 2 of those for one of these, something like that, something that's breaking that rule, and you're already going, okay, I need a train to a road to a this to a that. Oh, or this way's longer, but I also have a boat, so therefore it can get a little clogged down in that decision. So I think that variant is also just going to add to that.
But I think you have to take this into effect of what the game is. It's a light game.
Yes.
It's a game that looks heavier. It looks all complex and stuff going on, and it's not that complicated. I mean, you're saying that it's a little clunky to get around. I get it, but I think people will enjoy that. So as a gamer, I have to kind of let some of these things fly because it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
We're just, again, going around and collecting things. Again, I think it's very similar to expeditions in this way. Things show up near me, so be it. They will show up near you later on. It will kind of even out. I think there's only 1 city card for each thing in the game.
Yes,
I think so, yeah.
It also matters what kind it is. Is it the kind where you can send postcards? Or is it the kind where you can take a photograph? Is it in this continent or that continent? All these things are scored, right?
Right.
Like I might have something appear right next to me or very close to me, but it's in a color, in a chunk of the world that's a color I already have. And I might want to diversify that, get more points that way. Maybe I don't want it. Maybe I'll collect a couple more cards and go for that over there. I like the push and pull here. And I really like, this is something that threw me off when I first read the rule book, but I really like the rule that traveling to some place is an all or nothing affair. And it's such an interesting rule. In Ticket to Ride, when I'm...
It's hard to explain, though. I'm like...
It is, like...
I want to stop here. I'm like, you can't.
You can't. You have to go destination to destination.
It's very interesting. There's 3 places you can go. You don't get to travel a little bit of the way there. You go all the way there. Then you take that card. You want to send a postcard? You have to still be there. Once you leave, you can't do that. It's very clean. It really makes sense. I like those rules quite a bit.
There are 2 rules I don't like. One is, it's a minor thing. To some degree, I just wish that traveling was 2 actions. Like if you travel your turn, that's all you do. Because the game is a nice flow. Like on my turn, I'm taking a picture. That's my whole turn. I'm done. You're like, I'll take a souvenir and take a card. And then Camille's like, I'm going to travel. Travel. And I also do another action. I'm like, oh, I feel like travel should be its own thing. That's minor.
Yeah, I don't know about. I don't think I agree with that because I like those turns where it's like, yes, oh, that card I need is there, and that angst of, oh, I hope nobody takes that card because I need 1 more road. 1 road, grab it. 2 to move. Got
it, and I get that, and that's why it's minor. The one I do have a bigger problem with, and again, I might even just not teach it to people, is that whole, if you use all your cards, efficient travel, which is called luck. Right, that's what it is. I mean, you can't, because someone can just go to the spot you were planning to go to, then you're like, okay, now I'm going to go somewhere else, and it's a draw cards, man, for just getting rid of all your cards. That's such a big advantage.
So I think I half agree here. I do think that advantage is there, and it should be there because I have gone out of my way to go to a location to efficiently use them. However, if it's your first turn, your first action, and then you have to take a second action, so you're out of cards, you might as well draw a card, then you don't get that boon.
It's
that
weird,
doesn't
right?
make sense. So I think it should be like at the time of travel. It should not be at the end of your turn. It should be at the time of travel. If you used it efficiently, you get the two draws, because then it really does feel like it's worth going out of my way. I'm going to hold out 1 more turn so I get 1 more card so I can go up over the hills, or through this other town to get there to be efficient. So I agree it's not exactly on what I want it to be.
it's a non-gamer rule. It's a friendly rule. Or like by that I mean it's like a, this feels good to do family weight board game thing, right? It's like, ha-ha, you stole my cards. I get 2 free cards. Like, wait, that's not balanced. Shut up about that stuff.
Right.
It's a light game.
But it should be
things pop up next to you. You can go there. You randomly begin somewhere in the world. Like it's luck. So I'm kind of in between both of you. It does feel weird to, again, for me in a game like this, it's more about the mental tracking of things. And I agree with you. If you end to travel and you're out of cards, good job. Here's a couple free cards. You have an action left. Who cares? You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
Overall, I think the game does some clever things, though.
Yeah.
Like the going to a destination with a picture is there's only one way in, one way out, which I like that. You know, it's not easy to get to that stuff. It feels lightweight. It says 45 to 90, 45 maybe with 2. It's going to be probably an hour game or so in that regard. But it's a nice weight game. There's a lot of these travel across the world type games out there, but this one, I think the theme works pretty well. I like the art. With the small exception, I don't love the people in encounter cards. I feel like they feel like Kickstarter backers.
It's very stylized, you know. The game is.
But I love the art of the places you go to.
Yeah.
That I really enjoy, and so I'm giving this a 7. It's a nice, fun game that I could bring out to people who don't play a lot of games. I'm like, hey, you like collecting cards, moving around the board, easy to teach. The idea of, hey, I took a picture of Rome. How do I remember that? You put it on the card of Rome.
Right.
It's a very simple, easy thing to do. So, 7 for me.
I'm coming in a little bit higher than you. I'm going to give this one an 8. I enjoy it quite a bit. I like things feel thematic. I enjoy the scoring in this game. I like the main clever idea that none of the other traveling games, I think, do is how does the game end? Like, what is the end game trigger? It's not travel to 5 places. It's not get to 40 points. It's not a certain number of turns. There's these 3 cards that have objectives, things you can achieve. And when 2 of those get done out of the 3, boom, end game triggered. Everybody goes one more time, game's over. I like that. That means the game kind of pushes different things at different times. And I like the scoring. I like the things you score for in this game. I went to fewer places, but I took a bunch of paths to get there. So that score track is higher than anybody else. That feels good. Oh, while you guys were traveling, every time I traveled, I planted myself there and just postcard. Then I left. Whereas some people go and immediately see someplace else they want to go and they travel again. That's interesting. The whole thing has a nice combination of flavors. I like what's going on in this one. It's not perfect. There's a couple of things that I think could have been kind of streamlined a little bit more. Those friendly people you meet, there's a lot of them. Their powers, sometimes I draw one and I'm like, nah, I don't care. But overall, I really do like it. So it gets an 8.
I'm right there at an 8 as well. I think this game is one that I'm just more and more enthralled with each play. You know, at first it was like, oh man, the swingy luck of this, or oh, it's so heavy, like figuring out, making sure I map out exactly, and then you take it away from me. But then you get the scoring and you see that those are really just paths to different strategies. You know, I'm one that I just want to go to all the different locations and maximize that end game scoring. I don't think I've ever taken a picture or gotten a souvenir.
I love to do that stuff.
Right, and and it's
to me,
very
I feel like it's a waste of time. I'm like, I'm go to the next location. You take the picture.
And exactly. But the scores are very competitive with that, you know. And I mean, I definitely had a game one time where I only had like 4 places I went to, or 5, because I tried a different strategy to really go into those scoring cards, you know. And I was right there with the people that had gone to 8 or 9 locations, you know, scoring. So I think the more I play it, the more that kind of stuff just melts away. And I like the different passive strategy, but yet it's still being a very approachable game. I'd put this right beside Ticket to Ride. I'd put it right beside Trekking the World, but this one just seems to have more strategies to kind of experience, you know. So I think you are right. If that you took my spot, you're going to set me back, if that meanness is going to feel overly mean, then this would not be a game for you.
I don't know. That's meanness. It's more like
It's
It feels like
unintentional,
it is,
yeah.
it is.
accidental robbery is kind
Right.
of what I've.
And that's how I went into the first couple plays. But from then I was like, no, not really. There is a good balance to it,
Right.
you know. So just know it is going to feel like that. And that stuff usually is a huge turnoff for me. But I'm finding myself more and more enthralled in that kind of melting away as you see the strategies emerge. So for me, it's an 8.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Wanderlust. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
And I'm Camilla.
We're going on a trip.
Where?
To Orlando. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.